Now for this hour, we start with Europe. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has called for the immediate release of all Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Speaking from the Chancellery in Berlin, Merz has emphasized the urgent need for their freedom and expressed strong hopes for progress in the peace process. His message marks the solemn second anniversary of the October 7, 2023 attack by Hamas, which ignited the ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza. Let's listen in to what he has said.
250 Menschen haben die Terroristen als Geiseln verschleppt. Und noch immer sind einige von ihnen, darunter auch deutsche Staatsangehörige, in der Gewalt der Hamas. Sie erleiden Unvorstellbares. Heute seit 2 langen Jahren. Vor wenigen Tagen habe ich mit Angehörigen der Geiseln hier im Kanzleramt in Berlin gesprochen. Wir können das Leid dieser Familien nur erahnen, aber wir teilen ihren Schmerz. Und wir bekräftigen unsere Forderung. Alle Geiseln müssen sofort freigelassen werden. Wir setzen große Hoffnung in den Friedensprozess.
Now for this discussion, we're joined by Peter Baum. He's a foreign editor at Weekly Blitz, joins us live from London. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now that it's been 2 years since this tragic October 7th Hamas attack, what more can you tell us about this, and what should international leaders like the German Chancellor do more to stop this ongoing war?
I don't think international leaders, apart from Donald Trump, can do more. The statement by the German Chancellor is obviously to be welcomed, and any morally decent person would hope that other world leaders would come out with similar statements. Unfortunately, too many of them have remained silent, and silence, as we know, is assent. Now, in terms of the ongoing discussions, we know that this is the 3rd day now of indirect talks between the Israelis and Hamas, and it seems that Egypt have taken over from Qatar as being the main interlocutor, I must say. So that being along with the Trump administration's help. That being the case, there is still room for optimism. The deal has not been finalised, and we're still quite a long way from both parties wanting to sign the final document. Both parties, the Israelis and Hamas, still holding out for certain wins, which can only be achieved via negotiation. But we're at the point now, I would say, where we're about 85% there. And it's the remaining 15% that needs to be finalised. Should other world leaders come out, as the German Chancellor has done, in putting pressure specifically on Hamas, because I think the Israeli public just want an end to this war, whereas it seems that Hamas, the more it can hold out, the more credibility it seems to gather in the world of extreme Islam, which is growing disproportionately, not only in Muslim countries, but also in Western democracies. So I think the longer Hamas can drag it out, the better chance they have of getting the deal they want. But I think the Netanyahu government, driven by domestic politics and driven by Donald Trump, need to sign as soon as possible.
And now, what more can we expect from U.S. And their influence in contributing to a broader peace process in Gaza and Israel situation?
This is indeed interesting, because Trump has stated that if Hamas don't sign quickly, they will be obliterated. I don't think he can row back from that. So if it seems to the parties involved that it is indeed Hamas who are extending the conclusion of the deal, and let's say talks break down in the worst possible scenario, then Israel, with Trump's backing, will go in with greater force than it has done previously, And I say grateful simply because the vast majority of Gazan civilians have now moved out of the area. So basically, all we have left are the remnants of Hamas and whatever civilian supporters they have. So the next, I said this 48 hours ago, and I hate to reiterate this, but the next 48 hours are obviously crucial to how this deal is concluded or not.
And considering the ongoing violence and tensions between Israel and Gaza, how do you think how is this affecting other GCC countries in that region? Today we saw Dubai bar Israel from exhibiting in their air exhibition.
Yeah, from an Israeli point of view, that must be quite disappointing. But you know, these short-term efforts to hurt one side or the other can be undone as quickly as they've been done. So I don't think too much stock should be placed on that. Obviously, the Israelis would be disappointed in not being able to exhibit at this particular exhibition. But we saw recently that Denmark, for example, just a couple of months ago, said no more buying of Israeli weapons. And in the last 48 hours, they're back negotiating with Israel for supply of weaponry. So short-term disappointment as far as Israel's concerned, but nothing that can't be put right in the future.
Thank you very much, Peter Baum, for joining us and sharing that insight.
Okay.
Now we move on and we stay